this is Kate from Generate Magic. So I want to expand what I discussed in the last video about really just embracing the full spectrum of emotion. And I'm reading more out of the book Existential Kink, which I discussed the other day. And so she's talking about this whole idea of when we experience feelings that we would deem to be unpleasant. Like, let's take the example of sadness. Instead of judging ourselves, which is what we kind of tend to do, right? Or instead of resisting it, instead of saying, oh no, you know, this is so horrible that I'm feeling this way, or here it goes again. Or the example that she used, I love it, is oh, I feel sad and only losers feel sad. And so she said, instead of resisting it, instead of judging it, and she didn't say this, but this is my take on it, is instead of identifying with the emotions, right? Because it's when you identify with them, and when you take them on as your identity, that you really start to experience that struggle and that resistance. And so, for instance, saying, I feel sad, therefore I must be a loser, or I feel sad, therefore I'm a failure. And especially if you're into manifestation, right, and you've kind of taken on this belief that you should always be positive or high vibe or happy, and so you're judging yourself for feeling sad. And so she says, instead, to transmute these emotions into an aesthetic experience. And so really kind of getting deep into it and saying, well, what does that sadness feel like? What does it sound like? And when she said aesthetic experience, immediately what I thought of is art, right? And I've talked about music recently, and so a lot of the music that I listen to now, it tends to be dance music from the 70s, 80s, and 90s primarily. So generally pretty like upbeat, what most of us would consider to be pretty happy music. But every once in a while, I listen to other music that I used to listen to be into more a few years ago, just to kind of get back into it again. And so bands that I used to really be into, so Frank Ocean of Montreal, and just really like beautiful music, like really rich in terms of the lyrics and in terms of the sound and just everything that's going on. And there was like a time in my life, once I started kind of getting into manifestation and spirituality, where I was like, well, I don't really want to listen to this music as much anymore, because it's kind of the lyrics, they're kind of sad, they're kind of negative. A lot of Montreal's songs are bitter, and almost there's this kind of undertone of a resentment in it, because a lot of it is about his failed marriage, and so, but it's taking these experiences, right, and it's making this transcendent, yeah, it's just this very it's transcending it, and so it's almost like elevating it into a new form. And so when you listen to Montreal, or when you listen to Frank Ocean, there's something very beautiful about it, and there's something that not only, yeah, just allows you to kind of access the spectrum of those emotions and the richness and the nuance and the complexity, but also there's something about it that really just lifts your spirits. And there's a song I love this song. It's in fact, I would consider it like one of my favorite songs. But I hadn't listened to it in a long time, and I just re-listened to it recently. It's a song called 911 by Tyler, the Creator, and Frank Ocean is actually a guest singer on it. And the song is all saying, you know, 911, call 911, and it's all about loneliness, and it's a lot, and so it's talking about real things in the song, right? And it's talking about how even if you get to the level of gaining the celebrity status, gaining this prestige, gaining all this material wealth, you can still feel very empty inside, right? You can still feel very lonely. And so, for instance, he talks about he says, I have a 5-car garage, but because you're not riding shotgun next to me, like, it feels meaningless, it feels empty. And so it's a very real, very universal human experience, but at the same time, there's something just so beautiful about the song. And also the lyrics are something there's not only poignancy in the lyrics, but they're also very absurd. They're very funny in a lot of cases. And so at one point he's talking about how he's never, again, kind of going into the whole idea of like loneliness. He says, I never even had a pet. And there's many fish in the sea, but I haven't even had a goldfish. And so it's just all kind of, yeah, absurd and humorous. And it's obviously kind of a play on the idea, right, of this whole idea of, oh, it doesn't matter if you break up or your lover rejects you or whatever, because there's many fish in the sea. And he's like, and also it's very brilliant lyrics in my opinion, because it's really kind of bringing together like a lot of different concepts of, some people say, oh, well, you're lonely, you should just get a pet. and so but the way he does it, it's so brilliant and such a transcendent experience. And it actually kind of reminds me when I first conceptualized of Generate Magic, and I was just kind of writing down all the things that it meant to me and kind of coming up with with my messaging. And one of the things I wrote was make magic out of every moment, even the crappy ones, right? And so even in the crap, what we consider to be like loneliness, sadness, anger, all these things that we consider to be kind of low vibe emotions, right? Or things that we don't want to experience, we can alchemize them, right? We can transmute, we can transcend them, and we can make something really beautiful out of them. And it goes beyond just like coping with the emotions or even trying to escape the emotions, but it's more just taking them and making them a beautiful experience, and recognizing that everything, right, is just kind of what the inherent value that we give it, right? Like good and bad, something is only good or bad because we assign that meaning to it. And so when we identify with it, when we say, oh, I'm feeling lonely, so this must mean I'm a loser, this must mean that, that I'm a loser. And we take it to mean something about ourselves and about our identity, or we just think it's like this permanent, we see it as this very solid, very permanent experience that we're never going to escape, instead of just realizing emotions are always changing, thoughts are always changing, we're always moving through states throughout the day, and accepting that, and not only accepting and tolerating, but also embracing it. And the premise of this book, which again, I haven't read the whole thing, but it's very much in line with my philosophy, is that the less you, and a lot of these spiritual teachers, right, and we're always hearing that whatever you resist persists, right? And so when you stop resisting things, when you get into the state of radical acceptance, then paradoxically you actually start seeing more favorable experiences in life. You start enjoying life more, you start feeling in flow more, and just being able to kind of see like the lightness, and being able to see the humor, and that's something that comedians do really well too, right? And they're able to kind of take these experiences that people would see as being these terrible experiences, and they're able to kind of make something, well, they're able to make humor out of it. They're able to kind of uplift people and entertain people and brighten people's day, and just bring laughter and bring light to the world. And so really, yeah, I see comedy and art, and all of it is really just kind of being the ultimate form of alchemy. And alchemy reminds us, right, that we're the creators, we're in charge, because it's only when we start to feel victimized, we feel like the world is just out of control, that we can't, that everything is just kind of working against us, that that nothing is going right for us, and that even our emotions we can't get a grip on. And so instead it's really taking our power back, and it's saying, yeah, saying we can make beauty out of anything. We can make magic out of anything, even the crappy moments. And so in my program, which I've been talking a lot about, my 21-day avatar program, so that's a lot of what it is, right? And again, I like to relate it to the movies, because I think to the movie Avatar, because I think that's why I use stories so much, as at least for me, being a storyteller, when I hear stories, I can relate to it so much better. And it goes from, and just using, like, it gives me an analogy that I can really grasp, right? And yeah, and so in the movie Avatar, he's able to to transcend, like, all of these experiences, and yeah, just experience this whole range of things, and this whole spectrum of things. And so that's what we're going to be doing in the program. It's just kind of learning to navigate the whole spectrum of emotions and experiences, and realize, there's going to be ups and downs, but we can still maintain a stable core in the midst of all of it, right? And like the ocean, the ocean, there's always going to be waves in the ocean, but yet if you put down your anchor, then you're able to maintain that sense of peace in spite of what's going on around you. And it's not like the example that I gave last time. It's not just shouting out serenity now, like the character in Seinfeld, whenever things aren't going your way, or whenever you feel like your anger is getting out of control. But it's more, there's something more organic about it, right? It goes much deeper than the surface. And so it's taking what's in you, and at the same time being able to integrate it with everything that's going on around you. And so again, all the details about the program are in the description. And so with that, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.